Have you ever heard of the burning of Rosario, Batangas? On the 31st of January 1945, the United States Eighth Army made its long-awaited landing on the beaches of the town of Nasugbu in western Batangas. Its initial role was to support the assault on Manila by the Sixth Army from Lingayen and to prevent the escape of Japanese forces south. The offensive to free Batangas from Japanese occupation was not undertaken until after Manila was retaken in March 1945. In the month of February 1945, soldiers of the Japanese Imperial Army stationed in Batangas were committing increasingly brutal atrocities against the civilian population in the province. These inhumane acts were seen as acts of retribution by the Japanese for the losses they suffered at the hands of the Allied forces. The humiliation dealt by the liberation of prisoners of war from an internment camp at Los Baños, Laguna, and the increased guerrilla activities in the province of Batangas. In fact, even before the landing at Nasugbu, Major J.D. Vanderpool, the guerrilla coordinator in Batangas and Cavite, sent as part of an advanced party from the office of General Douglas MacArthur, had issued strike orders for guerrilla units to attack every motor column and destroy any other means of transportation being used by the enemy. This order would be followed by others instructing guerrilla units to disrupt Japanese communication lines, ambush enemy troops, rescue downed Allied aviators, and many others to help the invading Allied forces. A lot of the Japanese atrocities were committed in the town of Lipa, where the Japanese Imperial Army had a large presence. However, the smaller towns nearby were not spared. In the towns of Rosario and Taysan, one Lieutenant F.C. Banog, a member of the Luansing Regiment of the Phil-American Irregular Troops (FIT) guerrilla organization, reported that on the 18th of February, some 30 Japanese soldiers got off a truck in the barrio of Maalasas and Mahanadiong, armed with rifles and a machine gun, and wantonly killed 2 civilian women. 15 others were carried off to Lipa, where they were presumably molested and possibly killed. Earlier that same day, probably the same Japanese troops confiscated 4 work animals from civilians in the barrio of Lumangbayan, presently the town of Padre Garcia, and also took advantage of unarmed and harmless 3 women. This is probably a good time for you to hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. We would appreciate it greatly if you do. These acts, Banog continued, were all unprovoked. By the 26th of February, one Captain Tiburcio Carandang, also of the Luansing Regiment, reported that no Japanese had been seen in Rosario since the 23rd of that same month. Let's take a mini break before we proceed. This may be a good time for you to help this channel by liking this video and hitting that subscribe button. He likewise reported on the 3rd of March that no Japanese soldiers had been stationed in the town since the 25th of the previous month. The Rosario Japanese garrison, apparently, had been withdrawn to Lipa, from where Japanese soldiers would intermittently conduct patrols in neighboring towns, including Rosario. Crucially, the dates that Carandang reported coincided with the height of Japanese savagery in Lipa, when they were rounding up civilians from their own homes in the different barrios to massacre them. The atrocities were such that, Carandang reported, one Lieutenant Colonel Paran, a guerrilla commander, felt it imperative to order the evacuation of civilians from Lipa, where the massacres were still ongoing and where the Japanese were indiscriminate, killing young and old and innocent or not. All the attention that Lipa was getting did not mean that Rosario had been forgotten by the Japanese. On the 3rd of March up to the following day, one Lieutenant Emilio Bulusan of the Luansing Regiment reported the Japanese returned to Rosario to burn down the poblacion. Bulusan reported that on the south side of the provincial road, only 8 houses were saved, among which was those of one Dr. Crisanto Gualberto, then mayor of Rosario. To the north of the road, meanwhile, from Mr. Tagle's house, except the public dispensary, as far as Mr. Miguel Castillo's house, to the east, all burned. The Roman Catholic Church and neighboring houses, including those of Teofilo Aguila, Inocencio Inandan, Ireneo Pita, and Hermogenes Urea were set ablaze. Fortuitously, there were few casualties. These uncalled-for acts of destruction towards the civilian population were, needless to say, mirrored in other towns of Batangas. As horrible as life must have been for these people, however, there was always a ray of hope in the knowledge that the Americans were already back in Luzon. That same day when Rosario was burning, the United States Army's 158th Regimental Combat Team and other forces of the 11th Airborne Division moved out from Nasugbu to commence the liberation of Batangas. Thank you for joining us to learn about this important part of our history. If this story moved you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel for more deep dives into the past. Remembering is our duty. See you next time.